At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too. Because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Mike Krueger. You're watching Coffee with Krueger on this, what is it today, Wednesday? Yes, today is Wednesday, June 19th. Oh, it's warming up out there, folks. Yesterday wasn't that bad. Today won't be terrible, right? I mean, we're still going to be most likely just slightly above normal, but mid-90s for the valley today. Of course, if you're watching from the coast, forget what I just said, right? Because you're not going to see a warming trend. It might be a little bit warmer, but actually going to start to see a bit more of that marine layer along parts of the coast as well. How's everybody doing out there this morning? I know it's been kind of warm out there. We're beginning to kind of see things get a lot warmer as we go into the weekend. And I know, of course, we've got big events going on, such as there is a fair going on. The Shasta District Fair, as a matter of fact, is what's going on. I actually wanted to kind of highlight that a little bit here and talk about it because there's a lot of fun going on with that. I mean, who doesn't love a good fair, right? I have got a map that I'm going to show you here so we can kind of show you what we can expect here for today. And this is what's going on. So today at the Shasta District Fair is Kids Day. 12 and under, they get in for free. 95 degrees out there. You know, definitely want to stay hydrated if you're going to be heading out there with the kiddos. And especially if you're heading out there for Senior Day on Thursday, and especially even more so by the time you get into Cattleman's Day on Friday with a high of 106 degrees. So yes, we can clearly see that there is a warming trend heading our way. And it's already started. We're going to notice it today, and then we'll notice it here as we go into the weekend in particular. We've got a couple of people making some comments out there this morning. We have got, I'm trying something new here. And we have got our buddy Jeff Johnson saying, good morning, had my coffee already. Now it's off to work. Watching on the drive. Okay, hopefully you're not watching. Hopefully you have it maybe in the back. And this is kind of some cool, Jeff, you kind of bring up a good point. If you want to watch Coffee with Krueger, but maybe you're on the road and you want to know what's going on with the weather, the cool thing is you can put it on your phone via YouTube or even through the app, and then you can have it running through your speakers on your radio. I mean, these days, most cars now have that Bluetooth capability, and you can still listen to everything that's going on. So, Jeff, I hope you're being safe, because it's very important that you're not driving while you're watching a video. That's a very important thing to remember, okay? I want you to be safe out there. I want everyone to be safe out there. We need to be safe during these warmer temperatures as well. And in fact, let's take it to those current temperatures outside right now. And we're sitting at about 63 degrees for Redding, 61 in Red Bluff, 53 degrees right now in Corning, 58 for Willows. And there you can see out in Chica right now, a temperature of about 63 degrees. The visibility is actually getting a little bit lower as you head to the south. What I want to do here is show you a camera. This is out at Elk Country. This is north of Trinidad. We're going to take you also taking a look at the camera coming in from Crescent City. Now, they're starting off with mainly clear skies. In fact, not too long ago, you could see blue skies. But you see those clouds coming in from the west? That's the marine layer, and it's making its way on in, and will start to move in here throughout the day. So I'm expecting to probably start to see that marine layer make more of a presence here over the next couple of days for everyone on the coast. I think it's going to kind of wax and wane in some areas. I think some areas along the coast may see more sunshine than others during the day, whereas others will see a little less sunshine. Especially, I think, more sunshine for places like, Crescent City. I think we'll be looking at Del Norte County in particular along the coast, seeing a better chance for that. Let's see here. We have got Someone coming in here. Let's see here. Ronald. Ronald is saying, what is he saying here? Let's get that going here. Let's show what he's saying here. Oops. No. Here we go. And then, oh, that's what I did. So we got Ronald saying, we need a new voiceover intro for you. I've got some ideas. You're amazing. Megan Hunt says hi. Do I know Megan Hunt? Do I know who that is? That's hard. I wish I knew. I feel bad. Maybe I do. I think Anderson, right? I think Dancing with the Stars, maybe. I don't know. Well, my voiceover guy, and until he says it's okay for me to tell you who it is, some of you may be able to know who it is. Others maybe not so much. But my voiceover guy is great. He's an awesome guy, and I want to kind of keep him going here. Tell you what, let's get to the fires here. I want to talk about the fires. This is the Sites fire. You may have been hearing about it. It's all over the news. Of course, I'm going to be talking about it as well. Based on Watch Duty's latest information coming in, it's 15,565 acres in size. This is one of those situations where we go, all right, fire season has been here, but this is our first major fire of the season. Now, it's just outside of our quote-unquote viewing area. It's in Colusa County, just south of the area. But there are places like Willows, for example, they're going to feel the impacts of this fire, mainly in the form of air quality. Now, there are evacuation orders associated with this fire here. There are evacuation warnings as well. This is a large fire. What I want to do here is show you a time lapse of this fire overnight. And look at that orange glow. I mean, and look at the flare-ups that you're seeing in there as well. Those flashes indicating some of those flare-ups coming in from the fire. So just that, and there you can see some of the flames right before sunrise. And I mean, still big plumes of smoke coming out of this. Now the winds, for the most part, are coming out of the north, but I think they're going to shift a little bit more from the south, and that's going to start pushing more of that smoke northward. Okay, so you can see that I believe we are looking to the west. Yes, we are looking to the west. So what that tells us right now is the winds are from the north. So that's pushing that smoke down to the south. But I'm anticipating to see that change over time. I want to show you this too. Here you can see here, this is just coming from space. This is the satellite image, and it's got that heat sensor, and it can sense heat hotspots on the Earth. And you can clearly see the Sites fire there. And again, remember we were seeing from that time lapse, we were seeing those kind of flare-ups. You can see that flare-up here overnight, some of those flare-ups, as those hotspots got a little bit bigger, a little bit brighter. So we're still seeing a lot of activity coming out of this fire, and unfortunately, it is growing and only at about 5% containment at this point. So we were last looking at the visibility. What I want to do is show you here, and of course we're just going to take a look out the door this morning here real quickly before we get to the fire tracker. But you can see temperatures this morning on the mild side. There's some of the low clouds and fog along parts of the coast that'll be coming in here later on this morning. All right, here's a look at the fire tracker. Now this is the Sites fire that we're looking at. The areas in red is the latest imagery coming in from the satellite. So the satellite, what it does is it can detect heat signatures. So the red is basically the last 12 hours or so. The yellow is from the last day or two, so indicating the progression of the fire. So you can see that the fire is actually moving a little bit to the northeast based on alone just looking at the latest heat signatures coming in. Now, these are the fire hotspots. Now, again, this is kind of the same concept that we were just looking at with that little orange dot you were seeing on the black map there. What this is the satellite picking up on hotspots. And you can see kind of those darker shades of red getting closer to the extreme heat coming out of those fires. So once again, just an indication of what that fire is doing and just how active it is. So if you can see, most of the smoke has been pushing to the south. But look what happens as we take you through the day today. Look what's happening. We're beginning to see it shift a little bit more to the north. Now, if you're in parts of the valley, especially to the south, into Tehama County, Glenn County, even Butte County, you may see a little bit of haze out there. That's what those gray colors are. That's just the haze. You're not necessarily going to smell the smoke out of that. But look at Trinity County, Ruth, Hayfork, maybe even Weaverville, seeing haze and borderline possibly even smelling some smoke, especially as you head closer to, say, southern Trinity County. So we're beginning to feel, at least see the impacts. And then, remember I was talking about those winds shifting more from south to north? What that's doing now is just pushing that smoke northward. So I think we're going to see more haze for places like Redding, places like Hayfork, places like Weaverville, even Mount Shasta may begin to see some of that haze as well. At this point, I would not anticipate the smell of smoke, but as you start getting into those yellows and orange colors, you may start to smell a little bit of smoke. It depends on where you are. And there, of course, you can see the big plume of smoke where the actual fire is. Then we take you into tonight, and again, we're seeing kind of another push of smoke move northward from the fire into Glenn County, southern Tehama County, and we're still seeing some of that haze late tonight for places like Redding. And it looks like it's even kind of moving northeastward. So Bernie, parts of southern Modoc County, Lassen, Plumas counties may see some of that smoke as well. So the winds right now, they're fairly calm. They're not very strong. They're generally coming out of the north. But again, what we'll see happen here as we look at the wind forecast, we go into this afternoon, the winds are now coming from south to north, but not very strong, 10, maybe 15 miles per hour. Now we take a look at the relative humidity for today. Yeah, it's dry. We're still in those single digits. But this is something I've been talking about over the last several days. And that is, what we see here is that the humidity is really beginning to drop in places like Siskiyou County, Modoc County, and really in the mountains north and east of the valley. And we're beginning to see drier and drier conditions in even places like, say, Trinity County. What this is telling me is that the more days that we see these low humidity levels and the more days that we see these winds kind of picking up, the drier and drier is going to get with those fuels. Right now, the fuels are pretty green in most of the mountain locations. But as we see more and more of these dry days, we're going to see that fuel turn from green to brown. So that's something we need to kind of think about, and think about it here as we kind of go over the next several days. So the fire weather risk for today is in the moderate range. You see the yellows, kind of just the faint yellows in the valley. That's just indicating that we have that moderate fire risk. So looking at the big picture, we do have some clouds coming in from the west. Those are pretty much eroding away though. And we're looking at Futurecast. Really, the main thing that I'm focusing on today is that marine layer. It's kind of backing off a little bit. It's trying to move on in. By the noon hour, it's still looking at, looks like some sun. But then as we go into the afternoon and evening, we're beginning to see more of that marine layer come in, especially around Eureka, and maybe even Crescent City, seeing more of that marine layer later on this afternoon and evening. Look at the high temperatures we saw yesterday. It was 90 degrees or higher for most of us in the valley. That was expected. Basically in the low 90s. Even in the mountains, still pretty warm, but mild at least, mid to upper 70s, even some low 80s in there. But if we look at the forecast here for today, again, these temperatures are creeping up. Low to mid 90s in the valley, Redding about 95, but as you head south, places like Willows and Orville about 91, 93 for Chico. For the mountains, we're in the upper 70s, low to even mid 80s. And in Trinity County, 85 to 90 on average. And then, of course, for the coast, looking at those temperatures in the low 60s. So looking at your 7-day outlook, here's what we're seeing here. Temperatures low to mid 90s today in the valley. Back up to the upper 90s to about 100 degrees tomorrow. And then well over 100 degrees, 106. So a bit of a mini heat wave, if you will, right? Because we do have a couple of days of 105, 106. And then we see temperatures start to slowly drop again, but still around 100 degrees into early next week. For the coast, of course, low to mid 60s. There's some of the low clouds, some fog over the next few days. That may even linger into Friday, but you get the idea, more clouds entering the picture here, at least for the next 24, 48 hours. And then inland, we got mainly sunny skies. I'm expecting the peak to be around Friday, Saturday there, back down to the upper 80s by Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Now, for Weaverville, I've got you up to 100 degrees or higher by Friday, Saturday, and then back in the upper 90s by Sunday and Monday. Now for Siskiyou County, Modoc County, and the Eastern Mountains, also seeing the increase in the temperatures. It'll peak around Friday, Saturday. Temperatures do start to drop, though, as we go into the second half of the weekend and into early next week, but not by much. I mean, it's still going to be pretty warm out there. Taking a look at Lake Oroville, North Forebay. This is the Lake Oroville State Recreation Area. Looks like the winds are fairly calm there, not that strong. Main Street, Chico. Looks like not a lot of traffic out there this morning. And not a lot of traffic out at Highway 99 at Neal Road this morning either. I want to show you what it looks like right now out at Highway 44. This is at the Sundial Bridge exit. Looks like we do have a lot of sunshine coming out there this morning. I want to remind you, I want you to share your photos via the Weather NorCal app. And, you know, a few days ago, Deb from Etna sent me this picture. And this is looking at some of the clouds, thin clouds. Now, kind of one thing to remember, you're like, why am I seeing this rainbow around the sun? Well, the reason you are is because think of thin clouds as ice crystals. Crystals reflect light. As the sun's rays goes through those crystals, it acts like a prism, and as a result, you know, like when you have a crystal on your window and the sunlight goes through it, you can see that rainbow on the wall somewhere. Same concept here. Those crystals in the ice are creating that prism, and that's why we are seeing those colors. So I want to thank Deb from Etna for sending in this image, and I'd love for you to share your photos. I want you to share your photos like that one, an interesting looking cloud, sunrise, sunset, beautiful pictures. What are your dogs doing? What are your pets doing? Anything. We love these cool photos. We love all the photos. I love to see all your photos. You can share them via the Weather NorCal app from your iPhone or your Android. Check it out. It's just a really cool way for you to share your photos. And I will share those photos one a day. So if you don't see it the next day or the day after, hang tight because it will be in the archive and I will share those photos and it will be in the morning update, and I'll try to also share it on social media. Also, of course, we're talking about the free Weather NorCal app in your phone. If you haven't downloaded it already, my question is why not? I would like you to see that. I'd like you to get the app. Go to your app store on your iPhone or go to the Google Play Store on your Android. Search for Weather NorCal. It'll pop up. You'll see that. See that square that says WN on it? That's the Weather NorCal logo for the app. And then you just click install and you're downloading it for free. All right, let's see what everybody's up to this morning before we kind of get to the main forecast here. Looks like we're getting some, I've got all these mice, I've got all these monitors and computers, and I'm trying to figure this out here. Good morning, it's a cool morning. We have, let's see here. Here we go. Curtis Brown is saying, I think you just answered my question. Okay. Oh, are we in for some smoke from the Sites fire? Yes, I just answered your question there in that update. Let's take a look at this. There we go. Yes, send that. And we've got our friend over here, Ronald Blue. Kind of hard for me to see on that, so I'm going to look it up here. Remember, hydration is important if you're outside in the heat, folks. One thing people don't know is if it's super hot outside, using soda hydrate is actually worse because it makes you more dehydrated. So drink water or things with electrolytes. You know, he's right. I'm not sure about sodas. If there's caffeine in it, then yes, caffeine can dehydrate. So things like coffee can dehydrate you. Alcoholic beverages can dehydrate you during this hot weather. So yes, Ron has a good point that it's good to drink water. That's the best thing to do. But yeah, like a sports drink, right? That has electrolytes in it. That can help you hydrate and stay hydrated. So that's an important thing to remember. Deborah Ann. Oh, Deborah Ann. Deborah Ann is the one, of course, that I shared the photo, and she said it was cool to see it. Well, I'm glad. See, and that's what I want you to do. For those of you who are like, oh, I'll never see my photo up there, you might. You just might see it. So that's what's really great about it, is I want you to send those photos through the Weather NorCal app, and you will be able to see your photo. I'll share it here on Coffee with Krueger. I will also show it on the morning update that I do every morning. It uploads no later than 6 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes if I'm a little ahead of the game, I can upload it a little bit earlier. But I will share a photo a day. So I want you to do that for me. And the more photos, the better. The more we can share. And eventually, if this becomes a thing, if you all deliver, right? If everybody delivers, we can maybe do some kind of fun contest, giveaways, all that kind of stuff with the photos. You know, we'll see, maybe photo of the week, whatever, right? There's all kinds of stuff we can do with it, but I got to see more of those photos coming in. And once we do, then we can have more fun with them. Alrighty, folks, let's get you to the forecast out there this morning, and we are going to go ahead and get you started with our sponsor. We can't forget our sponsor, which is Wind River Resort and Casino. Let's take you back to that. Because at Wind River Resort and Casino, you can enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials, and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, you may hear me kind of rustling around on that microphone here. That's because, oh, we lost something here. No, forgive me. I lost something. Give me a second here. Some kind of weird thing happened with the logo. Give me a second, folks. Oops. Let's do that. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Well, I'm sorry, Wind River. Something happened. Let's see here. Give me a second here. Is that it? No. Is that it? No. No, that's not it. Well, shoot. Shoot. What is happening here? Why does this happen to me? Huh? Why does this have to happen to me, folks? Let me try one last thing here. See if I can find it. There's so many different elements here. Here we go. Is that it? I think I got it. Let's do that. There we go. My goodness. Okay. After that fine delay, I'm sure I lost many of you. You're like, what is he doing? Why is he doing this? What's going on here? Well, we finally got it going. Okay, so current temperatures outside right now, 63 degrees for Reading, 65 in Oroville, 44 degrees for Alturas, 49 in Susanville, and about 47 degrees for Mount Shasta City. The visibility is dropping, especially to the south. Looks like we're beginning to see, though, a lot of that fog is going to start to move eastward here. So I think we're going to be looking at more of that marine layer here over the next 24 to 48 hours here for many parts of the coast. So the warming trend has begun. We noticed it yesterday. We'll notice it again today, even more so. The fire danger is increasing slightly, unfortunately, as the temperatures begin to increase. Slight chance for a few mountain showers, but honestly, I think it's going to be mainly dry. And then the heat wave will peak over the weekend. So let's take a look at that fire tracker again. The reds here indicating the latest coming in from the satellite image. So the yellows are indicating that, it's a couple of days old, maybe 24, 48 hours old. What this is showing, though, is saying, well, since this is the most recent activity, we are kind of seeing that growth on the north end of the fire, right? Now, that's not good news if you live in Willows, right? You don't want to see that fire get closer to you, but you still got a lot of distance here, and there's just a lot of vegetation there that they're going to be able to. We're not dealing with, let's just put it this way, forest fires. Those can be a lot more difficult, right? Because of the terrain, you start getting in the mountains, all the terrain. This is a flatter terrain, but obviously there's still going to be some because we're in the foothills. So we're definitely dealing with some terrain there as well. But we look at the sites fire here. This is also looking at the hot spots. So you can kind of look at this here. The orange is hot. You start getting these darker colors. That's the extreme. So we're kind of getting within that extreme. So we saw a lot of that activity here kind of flaring up overnight. And of course, we're still seeing it fairly active out there this morning. So the smoke is obviously something we got to pay attention to, right? The winds, for the most part, this morning are from the north. We're going to see a shift through the day today. So by noon, I think we're going to see more smoke in Trinity County. Could you smell smoke? Possibly. Places like Hayfork, for example. I think mainly in the form of haze, though, for Tehama and most of Glenn County, right? But as we go into this afternoon and this evening, look what's happening. Now we're starting to see it shift more from south to north. So we're seeing more of that haze from places like Redding and Red Bluff. Still that haze in parts of Trinity County and even to the east as well. Are you smelling smoke in this area here? Probably not. It's borderline. Once you start getting into the oranges, deep yellows and oranges, you might smell a little bit of smoke, but mainly just in the form of haze. So I think what's going to happen is, as we look at the valley, we're going to be looking at that smoke working its way northward through the afternoon and into tonight. So I think there's a better possibility for some of that haze and, of course, more of that dense smoke down to the south and into western Colusa County where the fire is. So there you can see the winds right now from the north, but fairly calm. But as we take a look at our forecast here with those winds here in the next 24 hours, a couple of days, now, again, they're coming in from the south. That's going to have an impact on that haze and smoke. Not terribly strong in the winds, but it may be just a tad breezy. North winds, by the way, still for the coast still. And then we go into Thursday, kind of those winds kind of coming from the south for the east side of the valley, a bit of a north-northwest wind. There'll be kind of variable winds actually going into Thursday, which will make that smoke forecast a little tricky going into Thursday. But you get the idea. Those north winds coming out of the for the coast here. And then for Friday, once again, we're seeing more of a bit of a south wind coming in. That may make for some more haze and a little bit of smoke. And again, it will all depend on the activity coming in from that fire. If you see it break, if you're seeing less activity, you're going to see less smoke. If you see flare-ups, you're going to be looking at more smoke. But bottom line, wind's still a little breezy at times. Now, unfortunately, what's going to happen is humidity is still very low. We're seeing that for the valley. We're even seeing it for the mountains, and we're going to start seeing less and less of the greenery and more brown and drier fuels in the weeks and months to come for the higher elevations, unfortunately, because we're looking at very dry conditions even up in the higher elevations, and those dry conditions will continue even into your Friday. So looking at the fire weather risk for today, it's moderate. Now remember, I was saying that as we go in the next few days, with that heat increasing, we're also going to see the fire weather risk that is increase as well. And along with the fact that those winds are picking up a little bit, a little breezy for your Thursday and even into your Friday. In fact, Friday, we're getting closer to that high range. Once again, due to those winds picking up a little bit, the temperature is getting very hot, over 100 degrees on Friday. And of course, those very dry conditions I was just telling you about. Now, what we've got here is this area of low pressure that's moving on out. But we still have more systems kind of passing to our north that is going to have a little bit of an impact on our winds and not to mention our temperatures. So, two main bubbles of heat, one off to the east, another one off to our west. What I'm tracking here is this cooler air is pushing more to the north. That's why our temperatures are increasing. This heat here is what's actually going to be expanding into our region, especially into the desert southwest, by the time we do get into the weekend and early next week. So that bubble of heat, that's where most of the heat is, but it is expanding into our region. But what's preventing that from expanding any farther northward is this storm system here. It's cooler air and it's preventing that heat from building in as strong as it would like, but still very hot. You saw those daytime highs in the long range. They will be over 100 degrees, 105, 106, 107 degrees. So near normal to just slightly above normal as we take you into the long range. So here's your temperature trend. Again, remember 105, 106 I was talking about, peaking Friday, Saturday. We'll see a dip, but it's still above normal and still hot. Temperature's still right around 100 degrees here for Sunday and early next week. For the mountains, same trend. It just depends, I'm just picking Alturas for example, but every one of the mountains will see that peak. And then of course we'll see that valley with those temperatures dropping down again. And of course for the coast, no big surprises here, right? Temperatures in the low to mid 60s for your daytime highs. All right, so here's Futurecast. Now notice today, not a ton of fog along the coast. There will be some patchy fog in some areas here, but it does begin to thicken up here later on this evening and into tonight. And not to mention, tomorrow morning, we're still seeing a lot of that fog along the coast, and that'll continue into your Thursday. Now, notice we're seeing some clouds in the mountains. It's picking up a little bit on some shower activity, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and keep Thursday dry. But you can see Friday morning, there's the fog along the coast. we go into Friday afternoon. The fog's still along the coast, but you see how it's not as dense, it's not as deep, it's not heading as far out to sea. So that marine layer is beginning to show signs of getting a little bit weaker. So we may see some more clearing for Friday, not to mention Saturday for the coast. Meanwhile, the wave heights are looking pretty good out there. There may be a slight increase going into your Thursday, but overall, there are no hazardous seas warnings or small craft advisories, but there will be some patchy, dense fog early this morning, especially as you start heading out to sea with those north winds at about 5 to 10 knots. All right, so here is your detailed neighborhood forecast for Trinity County on Highway 299. Temperatures mid to upper 80s, although we are getting up to about 91 for Weaverville, Douglas City, about 93 degrees. For Trinity County southward, there's Hayfork. You're going to get up to around 100 degrees for Friday, Saturday. Temperatures back down to the mid-90s by Sunday and into Monday. How about the North Coast neighborhood forecast? Well, temperatures will be in the 80s for many of the inland areas, although Red Crest about 73. There you can see Honeydew about 77 degrees and Shelter Cove 67. Ferndale, Fortuna, Hydesville, and Rio Dell. That fog is going to be kind of moving on in here, so it's going to be hard to really clear things out entirely. That's also the case for Trinidad all the way down to Eureka. We are going to be looking at more sunshine, though, inland with temperatures upper 80s to even some low 90s in there. 90 degrees for a high today in Orleans, 75 for Gasquet, Smith River, 71, and 60 for a high today in Crescent City. How about Siskiyou County? Well, the Highway 96 corridor, low 90s. We'll keep in the upper 80s here for places like Wairika, Gazelle, and there, of course, you can see Montague, a high of about 87 degrees. For Scott Valley, temperatures in the mid-80s for most of us, although Fort Jones about 81. Temperatures are going to be about 95, mid-90s for Friday, Saturday, and then they start to dip again going into Sunday and early next week. Central and eastern Siskiyou County, temperatures in Mount Shasta, well, you'll get up to about 84, as well as McLeod, but some of those higher elevations to the north and east, basically in the upper 70s for your daytime highs. How about Modoc County? Right around 80, give or take. There you can see those temperatures are peaking around Saturday and then that dip going into early next week. And for the Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast, 70s and 80s for your highs. Shingletown 82 up the road in Viola, about 76, 84 degrees for Paynes Creek. We take you to the south here. There you can see Lake Elminor looking at, looks like a high of about 67, Lake Elminor west is 81. Lake Elminor Peninsula about 80. 80 also for Chester and 67 degrees out at Summit Lake. Let's take it to the south. In Paradise, a high of 84 degrees. Janesville 74 and Doyle, you'll top out at about 82 degrees. And taking a look at your valley neighborhood forecast, and this is brought to you by NorCal Tractor. You got those temperatures in the low 90s from Red Bluff southward. There's that increase in those temperatures here over the next couple of days. Triple digits will return as early as tomorrow for some of us, but Red Bluff about 98 and 105 degrees on Friday. But for Redding, I've got you up to about 100 degrees here for your first day of summer. The summer solstice will be tomorrow. And then, of course, Mother Nature saying, well, it's summer. Well, let's make it summer. So 100 degrees on Thursday, 106 Friday, Saturday, and then temperatures dropping slightly, but still hot. Still 100 degrees and slightly higher by your Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. All right. Rowdy is saying good morning. Let's see what Rowdy's got going on here. Let's send that. And let's see if I can do this without messing up the clock. Where do I have the clock, by the way? Ah, it is on 1. So what I do is if I do this, ooh, yeah, it didn't disappear. So Rowdy is saying heavy marine layer in Fortuna this morning. Well, thank you, Rowdy, for that update here. I certainly appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we are seeing that marine layer this morning, the fog along the coast, and I think it's going to be have a difficult time to kind of clear out here. That marine layer seems to be making a bit of a presence here over the next 24 to 48 hours. So be prepared for more of that marine layer here, taking you into not only today, but most likely even going on into tomorrow. We got Tracy saying happy hump day. Yes, today is Wednesday. It is happy hump day. Good morning from Catherine. Let's get Catherine up here and see what Catherine has to say this morning. Catherine is dealing with some cold temperatures She's saying it's 34 degrees in Castle. Whew, nice and cool. You know, when we talk about these cooler temperatures in the valley, it's just downright cold for some of those higher elevations. We've actually seen the last few mornings, a lot of the higher elevations have been dealing with those colder temperatures in the morning here. So, Catherine, yeah, maybe put that fire, maybe burn some of that firewood. You know, getting kind of warm out there. All right, I love all this action. I love it when you all get a little chatty in the morning. It makes things a little bit more interesting. All right, with that all being said, what do you say we get through the day here? Oh, one more thing I wanted to show you here just for fun. We'll have a little bit of fun here. And today is National World Sauntering Day. Okay. Hang out and saunter. Juneteenth is today. Of course, it's the celebration of the end of slavery, so Freedom Day. That's awesome. National Watch Day. How many of you have watches? I've got an Apple Watch. I've had an Apple Watch for years. National FreeBSD Day. And then, of course, today is also National Garfield the Cat Day. Gotta love Garfield. Lasagna, being grumpy, doesn't like the dog Otis, right? Garfield. Memories of Garfield. I remember I had a trash can that had Garfield on it in my room. I don't know if I was necessarily a big Garfield fan. I just remember I think my mom gave it to me. So there you have it. That was my trash can. Those were the good old days. Oh, tomorrow we're getting ready for the first day of summer. Here are some of the days coming in. National Hike with a Geek Day. Interesting. National Seashell Day. Lynn Jones. Hey, what do you got going on here today? Lynn saying she is going to Lassen Park today. You may need your jacket. You know what? I'd say you just might need your jacket. Because, yeah, it's, I was actually, when I was last Sunday, when I went to Castle Craig State Park with my son, it was actually kind of cool when I got out of the car. So, yeah, I would bring some layers if you're going to be up in those mountain locations, right? Like Lynn is going to Lassen Park. Lynn, do you know, and I haven't checked lately, let me see if I can, Lassen Park. Is the road... Volcanic National Park. Here we go. Is the road open yet? Let's see if the road... No, it still says... Well, this was posted 5/1. But it still says the road is closed. Do you know, Lynn, if the road is still closed? I mean, based on their website, it's still saying that the National Park Highway is closed. So I mean, I would assume that once it opens, they'll update the website, right? So that's all I know right now. I don't have any inside info saying it's open or not. They do say that road clearing is taking place. Let's see the road clearing operations. It's still closed. I'm just going to go ahead and take you to the website here. So again, you can see the date right here. It says May 1st. So that was, gosh, we're going on almost 2 months ago, over a month and a half ago. And then, of course, it's still saying it's closed to vehicles, but they're in the process of... Oh, but it looks like you can at least get to the devastated area. And then the closed area is going to be like the Summit Lake, Kings Creek, Lassen Peak, Bumpus Hill. That trail is closed, unfortunately. That's a bummer. I can't wait till they get that fixed. I love that trail. But yeah, so that whole center part of the trail, but you can still get to the visitor center, and there are still parts before it closes off there. So still worth checking out. Devastated area is also a beautiful site. And, even if you don't get to go over the summit there and kind of the highest areas, it's still kind of a fun place to check out. Looks like they still have other areas that are closed here towards Juniper Lake and Warner Valley. Looks like that is still closed as well. But it is plowed, apparently, but still closed to vehicles. So it looks like they've plowed it. But there may just be some hazards that they've got to take care of along that road before they open it up. That would be my guess. I don't know. I don't know for sure why it would be plowed, but not open. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Road clearing operator log 2024. So based on the 13th, so what, 6 days ago, the remaining section of the road has been cleared. So very excited about that. Note, that does not mean that it is open for through travel just yet. This is a good opportunity for bicyclists to ride through the park. Yeah, there you go. If you're a bicyclist, you can ride through the park. Link to learn more about hiking and biking the park road. Also, pets are permitted on roads and paved areas. Okay. But apparently maybe not on the trails. So there you go. So it is completely plowed, but they haven't opened it up to the public. So I can only imagine it's only a matter of days, if not a week. I don't know. I couldn't tell you for sure. But Lynn is also saying for some hike, snowpack is still visible. So you're going to do some hiking out there, it looks like, Lynn. That sounds like fun. Snow is still visible. Okay, so that'll be fun. That will be fun. All right, well, thank you, Lynn, for sharing what you're doing today. Hey, Lynn, share photos. I want to see photos of what it looks like up there. That'll be definitely a lot of fun. Through the, of course, from the free Weather NorCal app. And yeah, so you can bike through the park, but the road is still closed to vehicles. Okay, folks, let's do this. Let's wrap up the show. It is 7:41 on this, I wish it was Friday. It's Wednesday. I was about to say Friday. I was getting excited about possibly being a Friday, but no, it is Wednesday. It is still hump day. So let's get you to some cameras here. Kind of wrapping up the show. And yes, Lynn, thank you for confirming that you will take pictures. I certainly appreciate that. Let's go ahead and cue up the music. Get a little jazzy in here. And we will leave you with some images from some cameras around the area, including, well, I'll obviously have to put Lassen Park in there as well, from the South Entrance Visitors Center. So, until tomorrow, stay cool, have a great time with your hike if you're going out hiking. Wink, wink, Lynn, have fun. And we will see you tomorrow morning on Coffee with Krueger starting at 7 a.m.